It's Wednesday morning. We're midway through the week now. We have some great stories for you to enjoy today. Here's what's ahead.
Today in our Horsing Around segment, Dr. Chris Blevins visits with Dr. Beth Davis, a specialist in equine internal medicine at K-State's Veterinary Health Center. They will discuss pigeon fever, a disease that usually strikes horses in Texas and California, but has made its way into Kansas this year. Learn why it's here, how it's transmitted, and what to do if one of your horses shows signs of this infection. Then Brian Holman investigates the land market in Kansas. Closed captioning brought to you by Kansas Soybean Commission, the Soybean Checkoff Progress, powered by Kansas farmers.
Horsing Around, brought to you by Roy Fry Western Lifestyles, dressing Northeast Kansas their Western best for over 57 years.
Hello and welcome to Horsing Around. I'm Dr. Chris Blevins. I'm the equine field service clinician here at Kansas State University Veterinary Health Center, and I'm joined with our department head here at Kansas State University Veterinary Health Center, Dr. Beth Davis, a specialist in internal medicine. And today we're going to talk about pigeon fever. It's a real hot topic here in Kansas, and a lot of owners, just regular horse owners that maybe haven't had the disease on their farm or with their horses, are sure asking a lot of questions. Dr. Davis, what are some of the, things that some of the owners are asking about as far as pigeon fever?
Yeah, hi. Good morning, Dr. Blevins. Glad to be here today. And you know, this is an interesting situation. This is a disease that we haven't had in our area previously. We might have maybe one case in a year that we see here at Kansas State University at the teaching hospital. And in the last 2 months, we've probably had over 20 cases. So we really are having an outbreak this year. What most commonly happens is that a horse that is infected with the bacteria called Corynebacterium pseudotuberculosis is that they will develop a large abscess formation in their pectoral region. And that's a little bit where the terminology comes from as far as calling it pigeon fever, because they'll get an enlarged breast or pectoral area. But this bacteria can infect horses through abrasions, minor wounds, even insect bites, and the horses can develop an abscess subsequent to that infection.
That's a very good point. And as far as other things, besides maybe seeing those external abscesses, what the owners will be looking for, what are some other things that can possibly develop with that disease and bacteria?
Yeah, that's a really important point. So again, most commonly we're going to see this abscess formation in the pectoral region. But other forms of the disease that can occur, and the disease has been around for quite some time, more commonly in areas like Texas and in California, but we can have what's called an ulcerative lymphangitis, so that they can actually have some wounds, more commonly on a hind limb than on a front limb, and they'll have little nodules that will break and drain, and they'll see that there is a chain of these little nodules that are actually following lymphatics up the limb. Less commonly, we can have serious complications from the external abscess formation manifestation or type of disease, and those horses can actually develop some abscesses internally. This can be a very severe form of the disease, and what happens in this situation is that externally the horse may look okay, but internally they may have an abscess. That occurs in about less than 10% of the horses. And then rarely, when a pregnant broodmare is exposed and infected with the bacteria, she can actually get sick and even abort her foal with that infection.
That's very, very interesting. And one of the things, that owners are wondering about is why, we haven't seen it in Kansas like maybe they see it in California and stuff more regularly, and why that is so the case this year.
Right, that's a really good point. We think that there's a few different factors that have come into play. I think we all were enjoying beautiful weather last winter. Unfortunately, a relatively warm winter for our part of the country says that we have more organisms that can survive that mild winter. And then you combine that with our very dry summer, very hot summer, and lots of insects around. It's more similar to the climate in Texas or in California.
That's a very good point. And I think we'll come back and we'll talk a little bit more about pigeon fever treatments and what other things that maybe owners can be watching for. Thanks, and stay around.
Valley Vet Supply is devoted to providing information and professional quality products at reasonable prices.
ValleyVet.com, ValleyVet.com, Valley Vet Supply.
Here in Dallas, we're proud that our vehicles use an advanced biofuel called biodiesel. It's made from renewable resources like soybean oil, canola oil, even recycled cooking oil. This year, biodiesel will displace almost 1 billion gallons of fossil fuel nationwide. Our air is cleaner, our economy is stronger, and America's more energy independent. It's working here, it can work in your community. Biodiesel, America's advanced biofuel.
If your company relies on business vehicles, it all comes together with Briggs Dodge Business Link with business vehicle financing. Business Link is a no-cost membership with advantages such as extended service hours, a dedicated staff, free loaners, shuttle service, and much more. It's about more than being in business. It's about doing business better, smarter, and more efficiently. Briggs Dodge Business Link is custom made for you. Call Briggs Dodge and let them show you how Business Link can help your business.
Now another gardening tip with Annette Jackson.
Fall is the best time to plant trees and shrubs for optimum plant growth next year. Always use Fertilome Root Stimulator when transplanting for better root development. Fertilome tree and shrub food should be applied now on all your existing trees and shrubs.
Our fall shrub clearance is going on now. Choose from over $20,000 in new stock and save 25, 33, up to 40% at Jackson.
Horsing Around, brought to you by Roy Fry Western Lifestyles, dressing Northeast Kansas their Western best for over 57 years.
Hello and welcome back to Horsing Around. I'm Dr. Chris Blevins here at Kansas State Vet School, and again joined with Dr. Beth Davis, our internal medicine specialist here for equine at Kansas State University. And we'll go ahead and continue to talk about pigeon fever. You know, we've talked about different things with the disease and why we're getting it here in Kansas. And I guess the other thing would be, how do they need to, if they have a horse that has it, where do they go next? Obviously they're going to call their veterinarian, but what kind of is the treatment for that disease?
Yeah, absolutely. So certainly if owners suspect that they have a horse that has enlargement in the pectoral area, has an abscess, call your veterinarian. They're going to be best able to help you out. What we try to do is wait until those abscesses are mature. So once they have an abscess that is mature, we'll often use an ultrasound. So we'll do a little sonogram of that area, identify the best place to open that up, and then we go ahead and in the standing horse, just go ahead and open it and drain that abscess. In many cases, that is all we need to do. Then the horse owner, the caretaker afterwards, will flush that area twice, maybe 3 times a day for a few days, let that area dry up, heal up, and the horse is going to do just fine. That's the most classic form of the disease.
And we're talking about opening those things up, and some owners are asking, well, can other horses get that, or how contagious it is to other horses, and how it's kind of spread. Right. Those are kind of very much concerns of a lot of other horse owners that maybe don't have the disease as far as with their horses.
Right, absolutely. So that's a really good point. And so this bacteria is going to be in the environment, in the soil. That's how the horses are going to get exposed to it. Certainly when an abscess is open and is draining, there are live bacteria in that abscess, and that can provide transmission to other horses on that property. So we do try to segregate or isolate that individual horse so that we don't have spread to other horses. But when we have a case on a farm, we need to be watching everybody on that farm to see if they have evidence of the disease as well.
That's good, very good point. And as far as like, what do owners think that they should expect for the rest of the year? You know, into summer, going in fall, to winter, maybe even next year. What is kind of thoughts on that process in this disease?
Right. Based on the disease and what has happened in other parts of the country over years, we know that we're going to probably see cases for the next month, maybe the next 2 months. It's already here, and many horses are already infected. So watching for cases that are going to develop, trying to maintain fly control to the best of everyone's ability at this time of year. We anticipate that after the next 6 to 8 weeks, we're going to see fewer and fewer cases. We're going to hope for a nice cold winter like we usually see in Kansas, and chances are next year we'll go back to a more routine situation where we'll have fewer cases.
That's great. And I guess that's one thing, we hope you never have to wish for a cold winter, but in this situation it will help with the disease that we're dealing with in pigeon fever.
Absolutely.
And as far as if owners have other questions here about pigeon fever in Kansas, they can sure get a hold of us here at the vet school. They can give us a call at the phone number is 785-532-5700. You can sure talk to Dr. Beth Davis or Dr. Lori Beard. She's another internal medicine person about the disease, or any of the other specialists here at the vet school. Or they could even go to our website, which is www.vet.ksu.edu. And then they can go to Vet Health Center, and then we have some timely topics that hopefully we'll have some more information on there later on, and we can help guide them with that too.
Absolutely. Call us anytime.
Perfect. Thank you, Dr. Davis, in enlightening us on a disease that usually we don't see here in Kansas.
Absolutely. My pleasure.
Well, that's Horsing Around, and I'm Dr. Chris Blevins, joined with Dr. Beth Davis here at Kansas State University, and we'll see you around.
If our local animal agriculture industry disappeared, what else would disappear? The buses that get us to school? The playgrounds and ballparks we go to after school? The books and computers that help us learn and grow? Animal agriculture provides millions of dollars in tax revenue that pay for our school improvements, that pave the foundation that will build our future. A message from U.S. soybean farmers and their checkoff.
Nobody gives you more ways to play and more reasons to stay than Prairie Band Casino and Resort. 3 great restaurants, Players Club benefits, plus an award-winning golf course. Go for it. You'll find something new and exciting every day, just north of Topeka off Highway 75.
Prairie Band Casino and Resort. Go for it!
Be sure to catch up with us daily on the radio for more agricultural information from Kansas State University. Agriculture Today at this website, ksre.ksu.edu.
Valley Vet Supply is devoted to providing information and professional quality products at reasonable prices.
Valley Vet Supply. We're raising a lot of heaven, the country parson.
Howdy, friends. Do you remember the days when you were out working out in the hot summer sun, putting up fence? The breeze picks up for a moment and you stand up. You lean on one of those fence posts. You survey your work and see that your line of posts are straight. When you start stringing wire, it's going to be a strong fence. Working on my life is kind of like putting up this fence. By allowing Jesus in my life, He guides me and makes my life good and straight. I want that because then, when He looks at my life at the end, He will say, "Well done." I want my life to be strong and available for others to lean on, for them to be encouraged while Jesus works on them. Do you need to lean on the posts of my life and get rest and encouragement while Jesus works on you? Lean on, my friend. You be encouraged.
Agribusiness brought to you by Kansas Soybean Commission, the Soybean Checkoff, progress powered by Kansas farmers.
Brian, thank you for joining us this morning on the show. The land market here in the state of Kansas. We don't really hear much about it, but I'm sure it's extremely important to the farmers and ranchers here in the state. How is the market right now?
Well, the market is just wild, really. It's been wild for a few years, and actually it's been increasingly wild in recent times here. Land values based on USDA numbers indicate that Kansas land values have increased 58% from 2007. And if we look at sales data, which is actually sales prices for actual parcels in the state, and we look at what those prices are, they've actually increased almost twice that, so almost 112% since 2007.
What's driving that?
Well, we've had great profitability in the crop sector of agriculture, and so corn prices have been high. We've had great demand from overseas for our corn. We've got a lot of corn going into the ethanol business, and so between the two of those, commodity prices have been very high on the crop side, and so crop production in particular has been extremely profitable for a number of years. And then on the other fundamental that drives the land market is the interest rates. And so we have phenomenally low interest rates because the rest of the economy is so having so much trouble. The Fed is keeping interest rates low and planning to keep interest rates low all the way into 2014. And so between the very high incomes from crop production and the very low interest rates, that combination has really spurred on the land market.
Money's not free, but it's almost free right now to borrow it, basically.
That's exactly right. And you know, one of the problems with the situation is that individuals who have made profits, they don't have very good alternatives for their money. If they look at certificates of deposit, they earn very low interest rates, and stock market is highly volatile. And so they look at things that they know, and that's if they're in production agriculture, they know about the land, and so they bid up land prices substantially. And so many of those profits that producers have made out there from their crops, that gets bid into the land market.
Are there segments in the state that are more profitable than others? I mean, we're so diverse and from one side of the state to the other.
Yes, and you know, it's the Corn Belt kind of led this thing. Iowa and Illinois, Nebraska, those prices increased really rapidly because they're more corn earlier, and so then that kind of spread into the state, and you know, from the northeast corner of the state, and of course northwest part of the state also has been with irrigated corn out there. That's been extremely profitable, and so it varies. But again, I'm emphasizing crop production here. While crop production has been profitable, that means very high feed costs for the livestock sector, and so parts of the livestock sector through this period have been suffering, trying to get adjusted to this higher feed costs. And so hogs and livestock feeding and chickens, for example, with the high feed costs, it's a little bit different story there. But on the crop production side, on average, been very profitable. Even this year with the drought, a lot of that will be covered by crop insurance. And so even this year that looks pretty serious because of the high prices out there, many farmers will get quite a bit of crop insurance payments to help cover them in this situation too.
Well, quick break, and I'm going to keep you around because I want to talk about maybe learning from the mistakes we made back in the 80s.
Saddle up and head on down to Roy Fry Western Lifestyles, the finest complete Western store in Northeast Kansas. Look your Western best. Select from 3,000 pairs of boots, Western home decor, and accessories. Near the corner of Highway 24 and Kansas Avenue. Open till 6 during the week, 9 to 5 on Saturday, and Sunday noon till 4. Or you can always shop online. Western people serving your Western lifestyle. Roy Fry Western Lifestyles.
Come on by. We'll treat you like family.
Here in Dallas, we're proud that our vehicles use an advanced biofuel called biodiesel. It's made from renewable resources like soybean oil, canola oil, even recycled cooking oil. This year, biodiesel will displace almost 1 billion gallons of fossil fuel nationwide. Our air is cleaner, our economy is stronger, and America's more energy independent. It's working here, it can work in your community. Biodiesel, America's advanced biofuel.
If your company relies on business vehicles, it all comes together with Briggs Dodge Business Link with business vehicle financing. Business Link is a no-cost membership with advantages such as extended service hours, a dedicated staff, free loaners, shuttle service, and much more. It's about more than being in business. It's about doing business better, smarter, and more efficiently. Briggs Dodge Business Link is custom made for you. Call Briggs Dodge and let them show you how Business Link can help your business.
Agribusiness, brought to you by Briggs Dodge Business Link. We keep your business rolling.
Brian, thanks for staying with us. We're having a good time off camera. Most people can't see us off camera, but we're having a good time off camera. Let's talk about asset bubbles. I know there's some concern when it comes to assets, people taking on a lot of assets, particularly land. Is there a reason to be concerned about that?
Well, there is a reason to be concerned about an asset bubble in the land market. The rest of the economy is in such bad shape, and it's still suffering from the housing bubble that broke. And so the housing bubble was a situation where housing prices kept rising, and people got highly leveraged, borrowed a lot of money to buy houses, and then the whole thing went into a bust cycle, and we're still working through the mortgage situation. And so the whole lending system is concerned about asset bubbles because we're still trying to work our way through the problems associated with the housing bubble. So lenders have been warned about not financing a land price bubble. A land price bubble would be a situation where people bid the prices of land beyond what's reasonable based on fundamentals, and the fundamentals being income and interest rates, and so basically bidding it far too high. And so lenders are worried about it. Individuals in production agriculture are worried about it because, and part of the reason is a lot of people are old enough to remember the 80s when the bubble was burst back then. It was a devastating time for producers in agriculture. And so there's lots of concern. We don't want that to develop again in the land market currently.
Well, for most farmers, I mean, either you grow or you stay stagnant. What's the fine line, Brian? I mean, is there one?
That makes the land purchase decision a very difficult decision. Back in the 70s and 80s, I remember very vividly, individuals felt like, I have to buy in or I'll be left out because size is increasing and individuals want to get a larger size so they can compete better. And so people were faced with the decision of buying at a very high price that seemed unreasonable and maybe making it, or being left out, for sure, left behind by things that were taking off rapidly. And so in the 70s, farmers faced that, and producers are going to be facing the same kind of situation now. Land prices are taking off rapidly, and their decision is, do I participate in this thing and try to buy in? Or do I potentially stay out and just be left behind? And so it makes it a very difficult decision. And the land purchase decision is a very difficult position to be in and decision to make, because income varies so much from year to year, interest rates vary so much from year to year, and so it's a very difficult environment and a very difficult long-term decision that's based on short-term interest rates and short-term income lots of times.
Well, in the last 40 seconds we have here together, I mean, corn prices aren't going to stay at $8 or $9. And I would imagine most farmers are probably banking on that profitability when they're looking at land purchases.
It's hard to ignore the recent profitability. We get accustomed to that level of profitability. And we just need to be aware that there is an awful lot of income risk out there right now. When corn prices are that high, they stimulate production around the world. They encourage people to find substitutes for corn. There are even concerns about possibly legislation changing with regard to ethanol use of corn, and ethanol programs possibly changing. There have been some calls for that. And so lots of risk on the income side that we don't want to underestimate. And I think that was something that might have been done back in the 70s, underestimating the income risk. We don't want to be caught underestimating the income risk in this period of time either.
Closed captioning brought to you by Kansas Soybean Commission, the Soybean Checkoff Progress, powered by Kansas farmers.
Thanks for joining us today. Look for us every weekday morning at this same time. Now, to see these stories again, go to agaminkansas.com 24/7. Eric Atkinson here from K-State Research and Extension.